Really don't like people. Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Robin Sullivan. I'm a very blessed Diamond Senior Ruby Ambassador with Plexus, and I'm excited to come to you guys tonight to really end out our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, to talk to you a little bit about breast cancer awareness, some facts that are very important for us to all be educated on as we move forward as women. Most of us on the call tonight, there may be a few men that hop on. We're all aging, and the older we get, the more important it is for us to really focus on early detection for breast cancer. So I'm going to give you some information about that, and then we are going to hear from one of our very own ambassadors on our team, Stacy Slaughter. She's going to be sharing her health victory, how she was able to fight breast cancer, and also what the Plexus product line has really done to improve her health overall. So first things first, in 2008, Plexus executives, Tal Robinson and Alec Clark, they set out to raise awareness about breast cancer. And they did that by making our company's first product a breast check kit. Okay. So most of you are probably, especially if you haven't been in Plexus a long time, you might be like, oh, I didn't even know that, because we never talk about the breast check kit, like ever. And the one time a year that we do is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we do have a breast check kit. It's actually a very effective breast check kit. It was the very first product that Plexus ever offered, even before our Plexus Slim, which is now our flagship product. And the reason why it's so effective, and the reason why every household really needs one, and also the reason why they ended up turning to different types of healthcare regimens and supplements, is because this breast check kit is a non-consumable product. Okay. Because you buy one and you really don't need another one, right? So that didn't really make for a really good business model. So they decided to venture off into some other health products, which we offer many of them. But the breast check kit, nonetheless, is still very effective, and every household needs them. And the reason why it is because it helps you to perform your monthly self-exams. Okay. That's one thing probably a lot of us don't even do with our own bare hands. But when you use the breast check kit that Plexus offers, what it really does is it helps to intensify the sensitivity of your fingertips. And the reason why that happens is because if you were to put like a grain of salt on any hard surface, okay, and most of the time you could feel it with your bare hand, but think about a grain of salt or grain of sand like underneath your tissue, right? That would be a little bit harder to detect. And this breast check kit, it intensifies the sensitivity of your fingertips. So it's like a glove, and when you put the glove on, you are able to do and perform a much more detailed and thorough self breast exam from home. Okay. And so this was our very first product. It was actually featured on the Doctor Show. I don't know if y'all remember that show back in the day. You can look it up on YouTube. Just look up Plexus Breast Check Kit Doctor Show, and it will come up. It's like a 2-minute segment that was on the Doctor Show. And since then, we've continued to carry the product. It's just most people don't talk about it, but we're talking about it tonight. So that is the Plexus Breast Check Kit. Okay. Now, we all month long have had some really cool specials kind of centered around breast cancer awareness. We've offered some combos that have our Plexus Greens in them, which is one of our new products. It's really great. Lighting is not doing very good for me, but our Plexus Greens product is amazing. It really helps with getting those greens in. How many of you remember your parents telling you as a kid, like, you got to eat your greens, you got to get your greens? My family still says the same thing. My mom lives with me, and she's just like, did you get your greens? We got to have something green. When you serve food, you got to have something green. Well, most of us in this country aren't doing that. And so Plexus Greens makes it super simple to get your greens in. It's filled with tons of vitamins and minerals, kombucha, lots of great things that help to heal and repair your gut, because your gut is really, truly the center of your health. Okay. And then we have some other specials that come along with our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that is our Plexus Slim. They have combos that have both greens and then greens and slim together, and every single combo that has been sold this month, $3 has been donated to Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. And so I want to talk to you a little bit more about just some facts about breast cancer awareness. So let me share those with you. First, breast cancer is a lot more common than people think. If you haven't had it affect you personally, you may not think too much about it. A lot of men don't think anything about it, but we'll talk a little bit about how men can actually have breast cancer as well. But second to skin cancer, breast cancer is the most common cancer among American women. This means really that 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime, putting you at risk and developing the disease at about 12%. Okay. Breast cancer symptoms are not the same for everyone either. There's lots of people that have certain symptoms, and I'm sure Stacy will share with us in her testimony kind of what her symptoms were and how she even found out or detected that she had breast cancer to begin with. But then you may talk to another friend that has battled breast cancer, and their symptoms may be totally different. So a lot of times when you think about, especially if you don't do regular breast exams, you're checking for obvious lumps, right? We should be doing that on a monthly basis, okay? But that's not enough, okay? A lot of times you want to check for uncommon swelling. You want to check for skin irritation. You want to check for nipple retraction. You also want to check for redness, scaliness, or thickening of the nipple or the breast skin, and also irregular nipple discharge. Okay, so those are things that you really want to detect and look for when you are examining your breast on a regular basis. Okay. Also, you want to be sure to check the lymph nodes around the breast area to detect if there are symptoms that may have slipped, you noticing them on a regular basis. Okay. Another fact is that family history is not always a breast cancer predictor. Okay. A lot of times people are like, oh, I don't have breast cancer in my family, so that's not really an issue for me. Like, I'm not really thinking about that because no one in my family that I personally know has had a breast cancer diagnosis. Okay. But it's not the end all be all. Family history is not the end all be all. You've got to really be paying attention either way. Okay. If you've had any sort of chest radiation therapy, you are at higher risk. So pay attention to that. Or if you know someone that does, then, or a friend that has had chest radiation therapy, talk to them about, hey, are you getting tested for breast cancer on a more regular basis because of that? Also, breast cancer screening is not a one size fits all. Okay. Aside from you doing your self checks, regular visits to your doctor are really going to be important. And a second opinion also matters. Okay. You're considered high risk. You need to start screening at 30. So if you have a family history, you really need to start screening and going to your doctor to get screened and not just doing home breast check examinations at the age of 30. If you're at average risk, then you should screen monthly and with further scans at your own discretion, just from home, at ages 40 and 44. And then standard protocol is you want to screen with a yearly mammogram at ages 45 and up. Okay. When you are 45 and older, it is really time to get a mammogram. Okay. So it's kind of time to stop just doing the self exams at home, even using the breast check kit that has a lot more sensitivity. It is really time to go for a yearly mammogram screening. And then when you think about this, a lot of times, just with any type of cancer, early detection is key. Okay. Early discovery, consistent screening, and breast cancer awareness, it leads to actually 39% drop in breast cancer deaths. There was a study that was shown that between 1989 and 2015, that breast cancer diagnoses, they dropped by 39% because of early detection and consistent screening. So that's a huge, huge drop, y'all. And so if nothing else, when you leave this call tonight, I hope that you walk away with this notion that you really do need to start taking your breast health seriously. Because I don't know about you, but I have not been very good about doing that on a regular basis. And it wasn't until I got introduced to Plexus that I even started thinking about it at all. The other thing I want to talk to you very briefly about is men and breast cancer. I don't know if we have our lone man ambassador on the call tonight. He was probably like, I'm going to check out of that one, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, because it's important, because most of us have significant men in our life. So men are also susceptible to breast cancer, and they should know the risks just as much as women should. Okay. According to the CDC, 1 in every 100 men are diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's a much lower number than women, but it's not an impossibility for a man to contract breast cancer. Okay. Um, the breast check kit also is going to be helpful if your husband wants to use it too. It's not just for women, it is for men as well. Okay. The last fact that I want to really speak on is just different demographics and how they are affected by breast cancer. So non-Hispanic white women are most likely to develop breast cancer. African-American women have a slightly lower incidence of breast cancer, but they also die more of breast cancer. And so there's probably a link between access to healthcare, maybe even later detection. I see a significant number of women of color on this call. So hopefully this is truly a wake-up call for us to all take our breast health more seriously and think about, early detection, what that looks like, how we need to incorporate that in our own regimen. And later intervention also could be a probable factor as to why we have a lower incidence of having breast cancer, but we have a higher mortality rate. Okay. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys about some facts regarding breast cancer awareness. But what I want to do next is I want for our awesome ambassador, Stacy Slaughter, to share her health journey, when she got diagnosed with breast cancer, what that journey looked like, how she overcame it, and what also these Plexus products have done for her overall health since she's been with us. So take it away, Stacy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robin. And I'm so grateful to be here tonight. It means so much to me to be able to share with women and men too. I don't know quite as much about the men's breast health, but I'm learning, and that's really a blessing. Do I have 5 minutes?
Take your time, Stacy. You are our only guest tonight. I really wanted to focus on your journey so you could tell your story.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was today I was at a homegoing service for a family member, and I've been kind of dealing with that. So that's why I'm dressed. So I think I wanted to be casual, but it just didn't happen that way. But anyway, I'm thankful for this call. I'm thankful for the opportunity to share. Thank you so much again, Robin. I really appreciate you. Um, I was sick as a child a lot. I was sick. I had strep throat and different stuff like that. And I think, y'all, that it pushed me into a process of decisions, bad decisions in my life. Just really, I had really bad decisions. And, they help you grow. I get that, right? We all have to grow and change. But as a result of the illnesses that I had, I want to say, I was thinking back about it today. I'm just really grateful for where I am. But, I was thinking about how I've been through so much. I'm about to be transparent, okay? I want to be transparent because it's really important for this new journey that I'm in, that background. So, I've been, diagnosed with alcoholism. I never was addicted to anything but, liquor, beer, whatever. I did not have any chemical addictions, which I'm really thankful for. But I have to say that I believe that some of that life came toward this portion now. I think it makes me think about it because now I've had this cancer. Oh dear. Carl, can you come and get the baby, please? I'm sorry. Bye. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Yes, Carl, I'm on a call, sweetheart, and he doesn't have his pants on. I'm so sorry. Hurry. I thought I locked the door. I apologize. So anyway, get out. That's my Thursday night jewel.
Your background's grayed out, so we didn't
So,
see any mooning. You're good.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. There we All right. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. So anyway, those parts of my life, are really I think they were a catalyst to get me where I am today. I really believe that they were. And I'm a believer. I believe the Bible. I believe in Jesus Christ. He's my Lord and Savior. And I believe He heals. I believe He can. I believe God is, available and willing to heal us. But there are things I also believe that we have to go through in order to get to a better place in our lives. So, um, 2020. Well, let me go here. In 2019, I had a really horrible experience. Bad. It was the worst, I think, thing that could have happened to me in my life. And when that happened, I believe that I became kind of a shell. And I'm still going through it a little bit. Just so you know, I still do go through it a little bit. But what has happened is it's in a, what do you say? Uh, it's kind of in a standstill, you know, but it affected my whole life. So I went through all of 2019 from March until December with this thing hanging over my head that's still hanging. But here's what happened. My husband and I have a great relationship with my husband. We've been married 32 years and we were in love before we got married. So for 40 years, since I was 18 years old. And so we have a very healthy, I mean, we're adults here, right? We have a very, healthy sex life, and all of that. Because all of this plays a part, y'all. And so, we were playing around one day and he bit me. And a few days later, my nipple turned in. So we were joking about it. We were like, uh-huh, one nipple stays. And we were laughing, because we thought it was funny. Y'all, my daughter had to have a biopsy. One of my daughters had to have a biopsy. I went with her to the doctor, and the the doctor, as she was examining her, preparing her for the biopsy, she said, that we can see on the screen that your that tumor has blood in it. It's red. It's kind of clear. And y'all hear me, okay, you guys, you have to hear this part because this is very important. Is the fluid is clear, and so it's probably nothing, but we're going to biopsy it anyway. So she's doing the examination, and she said, "But if your nipple ever turns in, call us right away." Y'all, my chin hit the floor because for 2.5 months I had an inverted nipple. That was no good. I had no idea because I'd never had anyone tell me that. Um, that was one of the signs or a symptom that we needed to check or be sure that we watched for. I did not, I had a little bit of a change in the nipple itself, but I didn't have the orange peeling, looking skin or anything like that. So it was pretty much just, it was something benign, I thought. And so the doctor left the room. My daughter said, I said, "Kathy, your mother has an inverted nipple." And if you knew my daughter, she said, "Mom, you have to have a mammogram today." So we're in a place where they do walk-in mammograms, but they also do these biopsies and things. And so I went to the restroom because I started thinking about it. It was kind of scary, y'all. It was kind of scary. I'm thinking, what? I can't have cancer. I went back in the room and the people were in there for registration. The nurse was ready to, to give me my gown, I mean, they were ready to do an examination and a mammogram. So I told them, they said, "Well, how long?" and all of that. So I told you that already. It'd been 2.5 months. Once I got into the exam room where they do the mammograms, pulled my right shoulder back. She put the little band-aid on and all that. And when I pulled back my left shoulder, she did just like this. How long's that been going on? Now, of course, you know what that would do to your head. You're like, wow. And so I smiled and said, "About 2.5 months." Because I'm still sort of in kind of disbelief about what's going on. And so She said, "Oh, you're going to need," and this is good to know too, you guys, "you're going to need a diagnostic mammogram." And I said, "Well, can you do it today?" She said, "No, you need a prescription. So you're going to have to get with a doctor." And I do have a PC, um, you guys, that I've been seeing for 13 years, 14 years, something like that. And y'all, he's never seen my breasts. And he's never seen my breasts because years ago, a doctor fondled me during a breast examination. And I didn't even realize how much it hit me or how it affected me until I realized I'm in this mammogram room that I hadn't had a mammogram for over 20 years. I was just really blessed not to have had any situation. I call them my pumpkins now because that's I hadn't had any situations with my pumpkins. And so so when I think about it, even today, I'm so grateful to God. Oh my God, I'm so grateful because it could have been something worse. So within 3 days, I was and it was Christmas time too, y'all. Um, September 22nd. So I had to wait until everybody came back till after the first of the year. And I'm going to add this in real quick, y'all. If you don't have health insurance, don't worry about going to get a mammogram because there are places that will give you one for free. You need to know that. And there are places you can walk in and get them the same day, right? So you just got to be resourceful and check on things and check with other people, other women, etc. So anyway, I had lost my insurance because of a some kind of clerical error. So over Christmas, I had to share with my family that I actually had breast cancer. The reason I found out I had breast cancer, y'all, is because they called me in, they did the mammogram, they did the ultrasound, and as soon as she put that wand on my breast, I knew because she started taking pictures right away. And then she raised my arm up and she started taking pictures right there right away. I mean, it was like it was a whirlwind, but she just kept taking pictures and taking pictures and taking pictures. And then oh my God. So they called the doctor in, and I'm going to digress for just 1 second. When I was in the room with my daughter, the doctor said, "This is why we don't think you have cancer." And I explained to you the clear and the blood in the cyst and everything. She said, "But if you had something," she didn't say cancer, "if you had something, it would show on the ultrasound. Listen up, y'all. It would be tall and Christmas tree looking because it would have jagged edges on it." So the way I envisioned it in my mind is that it's shaped like this and it's tall. Well, my daughter's cyst was laying down, and that was another characteristic, as she said. It's laying down, it's thin, you know. So anyway, the doctor and the radiologist and the nurse, the breast health nurse, came back in, and I'm just about finished. Um, and he said, "We see some abnormal tissue that we want to take a look at." He said, "Do you have any questions?" And my husband and my daughter were sitting in the room with me. And I said, "No, but I do have one question." I said, "Can I see it?" And the technician turned on the machine, and there it was, tall, and it was black, y'all. It was black. There's different grades of the way that they grade the cancers by color. This was black. And I looked at my daughter, and she looked back at me, and she said, I mean, we just nodded, right? We just nodded. And bless my husband, he's sitting there, he's clueless because we didn't tell him that part. And so I said, "So what's next?" "Well, you got to get a biopsy." "Okay." So again, my transparency, y'all. We got up, I went to the dressing room, and I'm walking down the hall looking up to guys. "Really, God? Really? Cancer? Really? Of all things, cancer?" I'm looking up. I'm fussing now, right? Like, this can't even be. I didn't cry yet. Got dressed, went into the breast health nurse's office, and she was already on the phone to the surgeon and the other the ultrasound people and all of that because she knew what it looked like. My husband was weeping like a baby. My daughter was trying to help him, to settle down. And all I kept thinking in my head was, "Oh my God, I'm going to die." That's what I was really thinking. "Oh my God, I got to get myself together. Okay, all my affairs in order." And I'm in there thinking while she's making these appointments. Y'all, it is serious. It is serious for us to be able to know what we're facing if we don't get a check. It turned out that I had um, DCIS. Um, mm, oh, I can't call it right this minute. I should have written it down because I knew my mind was going to go blank. But anyway, I had an invasive. It was invasive, so it had already left my duct. The cancer had, and it was already in my breast, and it was already metastasized to my lymph nodes. Now, that was an issue too, you know, but I said, okay, so now what? So we went through the process. I had two surgeries, just to quicken it up just a bit. I just wanted to make sure I got those details out. Y'all, it was it was just bad. It was bad. I had, you know, you start by seeing the, you know, all the people and you know everybody's touching and feeling, and you got to go through all this stuff. And again, as I'm thinking about my life, it took me 3 days to get myself together, really, you know. And when I finally did, I just heard the Spirit of the Lord say, "This is not going to kill you," right? You know, people use the scripture, "This is not unto death." Well, I'm telling you what He said to me. This is not going to kill you. And I was so grateful, but I just all of the unknowns were just too much. They were just, it was too much. My grandmother, my net, my maternal grandmother passed away. She survived the breast cancer and colon cancer, but she had cancer. She didn't die from complications of it. She lived till she was 90. My paternal grandmother, it was horrible. I could see the scar, the cancer coming out of her breast, y'all. It was black, it was peeling, it was horrible, you know. So she actually passed from complications of cancer. And so I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about my daughter, you know, and her grandmother passed. And so Robin is right. You know, there's no predisposure, not necessarily, but y'all, there's a BRCA gene. If you haven't heard of it, BRACA, amen. Thank you, Robin. That BRACA, you know, if they don't, if you go and if you suspect or the doctors suspect that you have that, do not let them talk you out of getting the BRCA gene test. I was so thankful I didn't have the gene, but I've had many family members. Okay, I've had many family members who have been tested, and some have the gene and some do not. And I was so grateful that I was not one of them. But I also want to tell y'all, I just found out that the prostate cancer gene is the same, or well, I don't know if I should call it a gene or not, but the prostate cancer is a very whatever drives it is the same thing that drives breast cancer. So if you know somebody that's got, you know, prostate cancer, you kind of can know what they're going through. And my father actually passed away from complications with prostate cancer. So I went through two surgeries. I had actually four total last year in 2020. And it really changed my life. It changed my perspective. Strangely, I had a birthday party for my 59th birthday. And I didn't know why. And I thought it was because of that thing that happened to me in March of 2019. So I was 59, November 25th in 2019. I had a party, and because I didn't know if I was going to be here next year. That's, you know, I didn't know, but I didn't know I had cancer then, right? I didn't find out till December that I had cancer. Thank God my insurance, I was saying, kicked in on January 1st, but that's another story. But anyway, so I got these surgeries. I had radiation treatment. I did not have to get chemotherapy. I was grateful for that. But because I have to take these pills, y'all, for the next 5 daggone years, they gotta, um, they've got to check me once every 6 months. I fell into a program, y'all. I fell into a program, and it was whether or not I wanted to get lymph node surgery. I'm not going to, I mean, excuse me, lymph node radiation. Okay. I skipped a little bit, but it's okay. You know, if you want to know, call me, I'll tell you. But anyway, they had to remove my couple of lymph nodes. They gave me an option whether to get them all removed or, you know, or get them, I got to tell you this because you need to know this. When you have cancer in your lymph nodes, the doctors decide whether or not they want to take your lymph nodes or not. I thank God for my doctor because she said, when I was on the table, prepared for surgery, she said, I got something to ask you. Take, you can let me take two lymph nodes out now. And they found cancer in the first one. Okay. None in the second one that they could see. But when they go in for surgery, they take the lymph nodes out and then they have them examined. I had an option to do that while I was asleep. They take the two, send them over to the lab. I'm still asleep. They come back and tell me whether or not, well, not me, tell the doctor whether or not the lymph nodes were affected beyond those two. If the second one had been affected, I would have awakened with the surgery. There's a name for it. I'm just trying not to get scientific on everything, but where they would take all the lymph nodes that they wanted, right? That they thought they needed. It could have been 19 or 20, it could have been 40, whatever they decide, whatever the surgeon decided at the time, that's what they take out. I didn't want to wake up with that, knowing that I had, I was going to suffer from lymphedema for the rest of my life. That just wasn't an option. I'm like, God, what do I do? So she gave me that option. I said, wake me up. I'll come back in 2 or 3 days. If it's cancer in the second one, I'll come back in 2 or 3 days. At least I have my own choice, to be able to know what's happening rather than to wake up with this thing. So praise God. I will go into the rest of the story. I don't want to belabor the time, but I will say to you that I am today cancer free. I do have to take this medication, and it's a hormone. It kills the hormones, right? Because it was hormones that were driving this particular cancer that I had. So you have to take these pills for 5 years, right? To balance or to keep your hormones from producing, y'all. They take it away. I had a hysterectomy when I was 27 years old, y'all. I had no, I didn't have to have anything. I took Premarin for a while and stuff, but after a while, I mean, I'm 60 years old. Why I gotta take stuff for hot flashes and all that kind of stuff? Well, guess what? Medication drove the hot flashes back, drove the night sweats, and all the stuff that I had gotten over. Now I have to do it again. Frustrated. Along comes Plexus. Hallelujah. And this is where the joy begins. I will tell you, this is where the joy begins. 2021. And I got a message from Del Rita Parks. That's my sponsor, bless her heart. And she told me, let me back up for just a second. For 2 years, y'all, I've been taking narcotics too. So while I was going through the cancer thing, I had a back issue, a structural back issue. And I had to take Norco. They wanted me to take it 4 times a day. I could not have lived on 4 Norco a day. Some of y'all know what it is, hydrocodone and stuff, something in it. So anyway, so I'm suffering with this back pain. I got all these surgeries and I'm going, on my stuff. And she called and she gave me her testimony about her ACL. She had torn ACL in her leg, in her knee. And she told me that she started the product and that it was, that it helped her overnight. So about 3 days before she called me, I had started seeing another back doctor. I was getting injections and all kinds of stuff, y'all. I couldn't hardly get up. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't. It was bad. It was a horrible, horrible thing. And so I thank God she called me. I went on the call with Summers, on Summers' call and listened to her testimony. And halfway through the second call, I sent Dorita a text and I said, I need the web address because that's what we do, y'all. I did not come into Plexus for the business. I did not, because I was sick and tired of multi-level marketing. And I swore I wasn't going to do it again ever. I swore I was never going to do it. And what I learned is never say never, because you don't know what God's going to have you do. 3 days, then I asked her for her. She said, nope, I got to call you. We got to talk. So we did. I ordered my product. I ordered the Triplex plus Ease and Nerve. Because by January, y'all, I'm thinking, I got to do something to help my own body, right? I can't keep going through this. I don't ever want cancer again. I can't keep going through this thing with my back, and all of this happening. It was just bad. That's the only word I can use. It was horrible, really. And so I got my Plexus and I was like, I'm not taking no pictures. She said, take a picture with your box. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. And then I took one and shared it with her because I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. you know. So I took my pink drink, not until the next day, but I took the Ease Nerve uh, Probio 5 and BioCleanse. I took that that night, first night I got it, and I woke up the next day and I got up out of bed without thinking. Y'all, I used to have to either take the pain pill before I got out of bed to go to my own, my own bathroom in my bedroom, um, or I had to just lay there and wait on that darn heating pad till I got some relief. I got up out of bed. I went in the kitchen. I said, I'm gonna start this pink drink today. And my husband looked at me and he said, "What are you doing up?" And I looked at him and I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, you're up." "Oh, yeah, I am. Okay." So I was like, couldn't be. Got up the second day. Well, all day long, I took one pain pill that day. All day long, get up the next day, I get up again. And he says, "Wow, you're up again. You must be feeling better." And I was like, "You know what? I think I am." But the other thing that I did, y'all, is I passed that candy dish. We used to keep candy dishes with them bite-sized candies in it. You just walk by and pop one in your mouth. And by the third day, y'all, my back pain was about 95% gone. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I put on my high heel booties, put me some clothes on. Y'all, I couldn't even hardly put my own clothes on, right? Like bending over to do your underwear and, slacks and things like that. It was so hard. It took me so long to get dressed. I'm just trying to tell y'all. By day 3, I'm at the women's ministry gathering. It was 5 hours. It was a 5-hour gathering. And I stayed there for every single moment. And I soaked God up. And I praised him and I worshiped him because y'all, I had been set free and I knew it. I knew it. Right. And I said, I'm never going back to the way I was ever. I'm never going back. I've been taking Plexus products ever since. In fact, I probably got all the products that they have. So my daily routine is my triplex. I take BioCleanse twice in the morning, or excuse me, I take 2 in the morning, and I take 2 ProBio 5s now in the morning too. So I take 4 a day of each of those. And the reason I started taking 4 ProBio 5, y'all, is because I had asthma and I was allergic to stuff, and I kept breaking out in hives. And I'm like, what in the world is this? Let me take some more ProBio 5 and see if it helps. So I did, and it does help. So I take four ProBio 5, 4 BioCleanse, and I drink Slim only once a day, but I'm thinking I'm going to start twice um, very shortly, probably in the next few days. I have been so free in my body. I had a horrible IBS, horrible, 20 years worth, y'all, 20 years. I missed birthday parties, going out to dinner. I missed opportunities to go on date night with my husband because my stomach was in horrible condition. I would sit and just rock. And just sometimes I'd just lay on the floor in the bathroom because I couldn't do anything else. No longer. No longer. I used to wake up with acid reflux so bad, y'all. My throat would be on fire. It would just be on fire. And my husband would wake up. He'd say, "Are you all right?" He'd trying to get me water. And we're trying to get my stuff settled. Honey, child, no more acid reflux. How did I get here, y'all? I think it was the cancer. I think it was getting cancer and realizing what causes it now, because I keep educating myself. You know, it's not it's not that this is all about Plexus products. It's about education. I'm learning so much about my own body, and I'm sharing everything that that I can with everybody else too, because they need to know. People need to know. That's why we do what we do. But it took that cancer for me to say, I'm taking my health back. I'm not giving my body to no devil and no person, right? I trust the doctors, but that's not who my source is, honey. God is my source, and He used Plexus for my life, for me to get healed and delivered. And not just in my body, y'all. My mind is being cleared. My mind is being, I take Vital Biome every day. I take it, I don't care how I'm feeling. I take it every day. I take the X Factor Plus. I take Immune Plus. I take Mega X, y'all. I don't even take blood pressure medication anymore. And I've been on that mess for 10 years. 10 years. I've lost about, oh my gosh, somebody said we went to church. Y'all just don't know. I've lost, I don't know, I was wearing a size 14. I was 100 and almost 90 pounds when I started. I'm 170 now, and I think I think this is where I want to be. So I'm not trying to lose any weight. I wasn't trying to lose to begin with. I just thought, if it helps me lose weight, that's good. But if it does all this stuff, I'm good. But I've lost weight, y'all, and I feel so much better. My skin looks better because I use Joyome. My husband, y'all, my husband, he saw things happening. So he was like, I want some. And so he got his own prescription, excuse me, subscription, because I didn't want to share mine. What else we got that I take? Oh, I still take Ease and Nerve too. You better believe it. You better believe it. But my husband uses Ease for headaches. He gets a headache. Oh my gosh, his blood sugars are down. He looks so good, y'all. I'm just trying to tell you. But he's the love of my life too. He really, really is. And he's such a blessing. And so I'm going to end with this. If nothing else, you never think about your health again, it would be sad. But as long as you consider your health, don't give up Plexus. If there's one product that you don't like, get rid of that product. But I'm telling you what, this stuff is like gold. It I've seen so many lives change, and I know a lot of you all on the line have too, but I'm telling you, I can only speak for me today. And my witness is, look at me. You saw me in 2019, how broken I was from that situation that happened in March. You saw what I went through in 2020, all the surgeries and laying in the bed and still dealing with my back. In fact, y'all, they rushed me to radiation, excuse me, Jesus, radiology one day because they thought I had cancer in my back. They thought I had cancer in my back. Turned out I didn't, and I'm thankful for that. But you know what? Um, I am Plexus for life. A statement came out of my mouth the other day, and I didn't even realize what I said until after it came out. And it was like, I have the Plexus advantage. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
The Plexus advantage. Yes, indeed. And I don't know who this beautiful sister is. Oh, Deidre Carter. Is that her name? Yes. Okay. Cater.
Hater.
I've been looking at her face. Cater. I've been looking at her face for the last probably half an hour or so, and her smile is so beautiful. But I'm just saying, Robin, I have the Plexus advantage. I would love to do a commercial. I'm going to do a video one time. That's what I'm saying. I got the Plexus advantage.
Well,
But I'm telling you, this breast, I was just going to say this breast cancer thing is no joke, and we all need to check, but we all need Plexus. I say anybody eats food needs Plexus.
such an amazing testimony, Stacy. I mean, I
Mm,
just have no words. I'm so glad that I had you as the one and only featured guest because I really think you
mm.
painted such an amazing picture of your entire journey. And it was so informational, so educational. And I know every single person on this call took something from your story. So I want to end with one question. It was when you started talking about you started with Ease and Nerve. Is that what you were taking after the first, second, and third day, and you were able to get up out of bed and not be in pain? Your husband was shocked?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
can you
ma'am.
tell us how many of the Ease and Nerve you were taking the first, second,
Yes,
and third day?
yes, I'll be happy to. So I heard Summer say, that we need a loading dose.
Mhm.
And so I listened to that. And I was suffering so bad, y'all, I didn't care what I had to do. If I had to take that whole bottle, I was going to take it. But I took, that night, I took 4 E's and 4 nerves. I went to bed, I got up. I took 4 E's and 4 nerve. I did that for about 4 days, actually. After the third day, I almost stopped. I said, nope, I'm not going to chance it. I'm going to stay right here. So I had to order some more bottles, but I didn't care about that either.
Mhm.
right? So that's what I did, 4 E's and 4 nerve for 4 straight days. Because I thought about it. And then after that, I started taking 3, and then I kind of weaned down to 2. So I take 2 E's at night and 2 nerves at night, every night,
Okay,
without fail,
so
because whatever's going on structurally.
wait
I was gonna
just a
say, well,
second.
whatever's going on structurally is still there.
Right. So you only took 4 E's and 4 nerve. You didn't take 8 E's and 8 nerve in one day.
I took, yes, I took it. Yep, I did. I took it twice a day.
Okay, so you took 8. Because
I
guys,
took,
the loading dose, if you guys aren't aware, the loading dose is when you take 3 times a day. Okay. Some things you may read and it may say take between 6 and 9 a day. And a lot of times people, because you would require you to get, if you did it for a 30-day period, which would completely transform your situation, whether it's nerve damage, neuropathy, pins and needles, tingling sensation for nerve, or if it's just chronic inflammation, a lot of people are super, super skeptical because you're telling them, hey, the loading dose is 3 bottles. Okay. And for most people, they're like, I don't know. But it is literally like what Stacey is saying. It's gold. It's gold. So the loading dose is essential if you know people who are suffering in any way with nerve damage and or chronic and systemic inflammation. Please, please, please get them to try that first. So Stacey, I just want to tell you thank you. Your testimony and your story that you so transparently shared with us tonight blessed so many of us on this call, and it will bless, I know, hundreds of others who will listen to this playback. So thank you, thank you, thank you. To God be the glory. And I'm just so excited that we all have the opportunity to have the Plexus Advantage. So you guys have a great night. I appreciate you for sharing so much, Stacey.
thank you
Y'all have a
so
good
much. God bless you.
Bye, everybody.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Take care,
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank you,
Amen.
Stacy.
All right.
Thank you so